do not reply. That is the message the White House is sending to its staffers, urging them to not respond to any reporters who have pronouns in their email signature.
And if you are a reporter waiting for a response, you might be waiting a while. According to the New York Times, Trump administration officials have repeatedly ignored reporters' requests for comments if they had pronouns in their email signature. Trump War Room confirmed the news on X, writing, "It is the official White House policy to ignore reporters' emails with pronouns in their signature."
White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt touted the new policy to the New York Times, saying any reporter who chooses to put their preferred pronouns in their bio clearly does not care about biological reality or truth and therefore cannot be trusted to write an honest story. Leavitt also took to X to laud the policy, saying that the Trump press secretary doesn't engage with reporters using pronouns in emails, says they deny reality, fact check true. Ron Filipkowski clapped back at the press secretary, saying they is a pronoun.
Brad Palumbo also agreed, writing, "As cringeworthy and dumb as pronouns in bios are, this is a pretty deeply unserious way to run a White House." Pronouns also came up at the CNN town hall with Bernie Sanders that we discussed earlier, when one audience member corrected Anderson Cooper. Let's watch.
I want to introduce Grace Thomas. She's a local civil rights attorney. She's a Democrat. Grace?
They, them pronouns, actually. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, and then actually the question she goes on to ask is about how the Democratic Party has lost ground with males and minorities, etc. I might gently suggest that that exact kind of insistence or language policing is part of what has alienated this group of people from Democratic elites on that front. On the pronouns in bio thing, like, I basically agree with what Brad Palumbo said. I find it a little bit cringy. I would never do it. I would also never not answer an email on that basis. Now, government officials not answering requests for comment emails, as you know, Niall, is nothing new. I sought a request for comment from a Democratic senator last week. I got no response whatsoever.
Right, but it's the motivation behind not responding.
Well, they're just quietly hating me without telling me. Now the Trump administration is transparently telling you it hates you, you they, them reporter.
No, look, I mean, I think that the whole point here, really, as I see it, is the Trump administration's tendency to do things in a trollish fashion. It's kind of government by trolling in certain ways. And we're in agreement with Brad Palumbo, both of us. It is an unserious way to behave, to refuse to respond to someone on the basis that they put pronouns in their bio is just sort of gratuitously petty, I would say. Do I... I don't have pronouns in my bio. I sometimes find it a bit virtue signaling, particularly when it's people who are stating that their pronoun is the gender that no one would ever doubt that they are. It's like, yeah, I think we can assume by default that that person's a he and that person's a she unless they say otherwise. So I don't love the practice, but I have a much stronger objection to the White House taking the view that it's doing, which is
and this might be unique to me. I don't know if anyone else on earth feels this way. I'm actually, if you appear to be a he and you say you want to be told to be referred to as a she, I'm more than happy to oblige that, and vice versa. I actually object more, although I'll still do it because I'm just a polite person and I don't go around my life trying to create friction with everyone. There's enough of that on this show.
There's plenty
I don't need
to
fight with people out in the real world. Usually if you try to have a debate with me, I'm like, just talk at me. I don't even talk. I talk so much on this show. I've heard this enough of my own voice for the whole day.
You're all talked out after another...
That said, what I don't love is actually exactly what that woman did in that clip. The they, them, because that's a plural for one person. I understand if you want a gender neutral. I wish there was there are gender neutral with Z's or it's just awkward though to say and people don't really like to. Using they, them to refer to a singular person becomes confusing in language sometimes, especially if you're writing it down, as I've found. So I don't love it. And in fact, it was a tendency like beaten out of me by my English teachers in school because you're not supposed to do that. So remember, you're supposed to say his or her rather than they. It gets confusing. And the
I
point of
actually-
language is to clearly articulate these things.
I actually love the fact that your main objection is that it's offences against grammar is your main objection.
It's genuinely confusing.
No, I actually don't love it. Very frequent viewers of Rising will know that we are both English majors, so perhaps the grammar point irritates us more than it irritates people at large. Look, I think, like you, I don't stand in the way of someone wishing to identify themselves however they like. And obviously there are people who want to identify themselves by gender-neutral terms or by terms that might not be the way that they present to most people. And that's completely fine. Do whatever you like there. Again, this goes back to the White House, and that point of it is people who are public officials, having their salaries paid by taxpayers, deciding that they are not going to respond to an inquiry because someone has a pronoun in their email signature. I think that is dumb. I think it is actually pretty offensive. And I also think it is a broader tendency or propensity on this White House's part to just sort of rile up the media in a kind of gratuitous way to appeal to their base.
They do like doing that, and it's a popular strategy for them, and it makes their base very happy, and it is likely to continue for the foreseeable future. But I've been ignored by people I've sought comment from on many occasions. University PR departments, as I used to really do full-time just reporting on campus politics, they were the worst people. And it's just so funny because these departments would have entire giant, not only communications departments for a PR standpoint, but like communications, they're teaching communications, and it's just so many officials. You go through the webpage, so many people whose job ostensibly is to do PR on behalf of the university, just like they get back to you days and days and days later. And what was your question?
They probably knew you were after them from a libertarian perspective.
No, I was sometimes
hold their feet to the fire.
Sometimes I would use a slight disguise, actually.
You should have a physical one. You should have perhaps a fake mustache.
Oh, you should see my. I did a college student disguise once when I was doing undercover reporting on the left-wing activism on college campuses. I dressed myself up as a college student.
It was free Palestine badges and so forth.
No, I didn't go that far at all. It was just me wearing a T-shirt that said Michigan on it.
I think you need to commit to the bit a little stronger.
I did not. Up next, activist Robbie Starbuck, another Robbie out there pressuring other companies to roll back their DEI initiatives. We'll talk to him. Stay tuned.